We live in an age that worships opulence, gold watches, private jets, the mansion on the hill dream. But beneath all that noise lies a quieter truth. A truth that almost no one talks about. A handful of the world's billionaires discovered something so simple, so counterintuitive, it almost feels like a secret code. The less they needed, the more life gave them. They rejected luxury, not out of guilt, but out of a clear understanding. They understood that the real currency of wealth isn't money. It's freedom. Freedom from attachment. Freedom from clutter. Freedom from the illusion that success must shout to be seen. These men didn't chase fame or flaunt riches. They mastered a deeper game: energy alignment. They flowed with life rather than forcing it. They were proof that when you let go of the need to prove, you finally allow the universe to provide. Here are 5 billionaires who lived like monks, and the hidden code they all unlocked. Chuck Feeney was once one of the richest men on earth, but for decades, almost no one knew it. He co-founded Duty-Free Shoppers, DFS, in the 1960s, a business that made billions selling luxury goods to travelers. While his peers built mansions and collected jets, Feeney quietly did the opposite. He lived in a modest apartment, flew economy class, wore a $10 Casio watch, ate in diners, and he gave away almost everything, not after death, but while he was still alive. Feeney's journey started in the Bronx during the Great Depression. Born to Irish-American parents, he learned early that money was a means, not an end. When he struck it rich through DFS, he never got caught in the illusion of more. He said, "You can only wear one pair of shoes at a time." In 1982, he founded the Atlantic Philanthropies, one of the world's largest private foundations. But here's the twist: it was secret. He funneled billions into education, health, and peace programs around the globe, often anonymously. Universities, hospitals, and peace initiatives quietly flourished under his unseen hand. When journalists finally uncovered his identity in the late 90s, they were stunned. Feeney had secretly given away over $8 billion, leaving himself with a few million to live on. By the time of his death in 2023, he was living in a small rented apartment in San Francisco, content, debt-free, and fulfilled. Feeney didn't just give money away, he redefined what it means to win. He said, "I see little reason to delay giving when so much good can be achieved through supporting worthwhile causes today." In a world obsessed with accumulation, Feeney's legacy whispers a different truth. The joy isn't in possessing, it's in releasing. His story reminds us that the energy of wealth expands only when it circulates. He didn't just donate, he demonstrated. He became the living embodiment of a spiritual paradox. When you no longer need money to feel rich, the universe trusts you with more than you could ever spend. Yvon Chouinard never set out to be rich. In fact, he tried hard not to be. He was a rock climber, surfer, and adventurer, a man more comfortable hanging off a cliff than sitting in a boardroom. But his passion for quality outdoor gear turned into Patagonia, one of the world's most beloved and profitable brands. From the very beginning, Chouinard built Patagonia with a different kind of DNA. The company focused on environmental responsibility, fair wages, and sustainable materials, decades before it was trendy. He called himself a reluctant businessman. While others chased quarterly profits, Chouinard asked a bigger question: how much is enough? In 2022, he made a decision that shocked the corporate world. He gave away his entire company, worth about $3 billion, to a trust and nonprofit dedicated to fighting climate change. Every dollar of profit, from that moment on, would go toward protecting the planet. Chouinard explained it in the simplest way possible. Earth is now our only shareholder. He drove an old Subaru, wore the same flannel shirts for years, ate simply. His house looked more like a cozy cabin than the home of a billionaire. He never went public, never sold out, never compromised. He once said, "The more you know, the less you need." Chouinard's life illustrates a profound code. Authenticity attracts abundance. He wasn't chasing wealth, he was living his truth. And because of that alignment, wealth flowed naturally to him. His story proves that purpose is the new profit, and that the most powerful form of success is the one that serves life itself. Patagonia didn't just sell gear, it sold values. It became a movement, a mirror for a generation seeking meaning over money. And that's why Chouinard belongs among the billionaires who lived like monks. He didn't accumulate, he aligned. He created from passion, not pressure. And the universe, as it always does, multiplied the frequency he emitted. Imagine being worth billions and owning nothing. No home, no car, no possessions beyond what fits in a suitcase. That was Nicolas Berggruen, known worldwide as the homeless billionaire. Born into wealth in France, Berggruen built his fortune through savvy investments. But at 45, after decades of collecting art, cars, and houses, he made a radical decision. He gave it all up. He sold his homes, his art, his collections, and chose to live out of hotels. His reason? Freedom. He said, "Possessions can be a burden. The less I own, the happier I am." Most people thought he'd lost his mind. But Berggruen was in pursuit of a deeper kind of wealth, intellectual and spiritual freedom. He founded the Berggruen Institute, a think tank dedicated to reimagining governance, philosophy, and the future of civilization. He used his fortune not to build monuments to himself, but to explore ideas that could change humanity's direction. Reporters once joked that he was a billionaire monk in a tailored suit. He meditated, read philosophy, and lived by the belief that happiness comes from the expansion of the mind, not the accumulation of assets. His story reveals an uncomfortable truth about modern wealth, that ownership can often become a cage, that the energy of freedom, the very reason most people chase success, disappears when life becomes about maintenance instead of movement. For Berggruen, detachment was liberation. He didn't renounce wealth, he redefined it. He proved that money, when detached from ego, becomes a passport to contribution. And perhaps most powerfully, he lived it publicly, reminding the world that you can be rich without being owned by riches. To this day, he remains a quiet anomaly among billionaires, a man who traded mansions for meaning. His wealth is now measured in influence, not indulgence. In a country obsessed with status and symbols, Ratan Tata stands apart. The former chairman of the Tata Group, one of India's largest and oldest business empires, led hundreds of companies across the steel, technology, and automotive industries. Yet, despite commanding billions, he lived with remarkable modesty. Ratan Tata's story is one of grace and groundedness. Born into privilege, he was educated in architecture and management, but his leadership style reflected a humility that transcended hierarchy. He preferred simplicity, driving himself, working from small offices, quietly donating vast sums to charity. He rarely spoke about wealth, often shifting conversations toward ethics, purpose, and service. When Tata Motors bought Jaguar Land Rover in 2008, a bold move that stunned the global auto industry, he didn't celebrate extravagantly. Instead, he said, "It's about proving what India can do." Through the Tata Trusts, he donated billions to healthcare, education, and rural development. Yet, he's known to visit employees' homes, personally respond to letters, and even comfort victims of tragedies funded by his own companies. There's a legendary story. One day, a fan waiting to meet him saw Tata drive up, not in a luxury car, but a simple hatchback. No entourage, no drama, just quiet dignity. That moment went viral across India, symbolizing what true leadership looks like. Ratan Tata's wealth never dictated his worth. He once said, "If you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together." His legacy isn't just about the billions he managed, it's about the billions of people he touched through integrity. He reminds us that humility isn't weakness, it's power under control. In an age of noise, he leads by example, showing that real prestige doesn't need to announce itself. It radiates. Li Ka-Shing's story reads like a movie. Born into poverty in southern China, his father died when he was a child. He dropped out of school and worked in a factory to support his family. By the age of 22, he had started his own company, and through relentless focus and discipline, built one of the largest business empires in Asia. But what sets Li apart isn't just his rise, it's his restraint. Known for waking before dawn, meditating, and maintaining an almost monk-like discipline, Li Ka-Shing practiced simplicity even after becoming one of the richest men alive. He wore modest suits, lived a quiet life, and often ate the same humble meals every day. While others expanded recklessly, Li studied patience and timing, waiting for the universe's right moment to move. He once said, "The key to success is to stay humble even when the world praises you." Through the Li Ka-Shing Foundation, he donated billions to education, healthcare, and technology. But he did so quietly, without spectacle. In interviews, he often emphasized that wealth is a responsibility, not a right. His philosophy blended Eastern wisdom with business mastery, a belief that inner peace creates outer power. Where Western entrepreneurs chased domination, Li chased balance. He once remarked, "A person who learns but does not think is lost. A person who thinks but does not learn is in danger." His wisdom wasn't academic, it was spiritual. Today, he remains one of Asia's most respected figures, not because of his fortune, but because of his example. His life is proof that discipline, humility, and spiritual steadiness attract not just money, but respect, and that true power lies in mastering oneself. What connects these billionaires, Feeney, Chouinard, Berggruen, Tata, and Li, isn't money, it's mastery. They mastered themselves. They didn't let wealth own their souls. They proved that abundance is not a matter of accumulation, but of alignment. In their own quiet ways, they cracked what might be called the legacy code of wealth. Chuck Feeney taught that giving is the ultimate form of abundance. Yvon Chouinard showed that purpose is more powerful than profit. Nicolas Berggruen lived out the truth that freedom matters more than ownership. Ratan Tata embodied humility as the highest form of leadership. Li Ka-Shing revealed that discipline and balance are the true engines of prosperity. They each demonstrated that wealth is a vibration, not a volume. The quieter the mind, the clearer the channel through which abundance flows. Maybe the real question isn't how much you make, but how little you need to feel whole. And maybe the universe has been whispering all along, when you no longer chase wealth, you begin to attract it. Because, in the end, money is just energy, and the billionaires who lived like monks mastered how to keep it flowing. If you got value from this video, give it a like and subscribe. That way we can continue this journey together.